This news hour with the news, I'm Shifarao Lako. Do stay with us. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed hails the upcoming 6th general elections as key to addressing historical flops. The Premier underscores that the general election is a precious opportunity for Ethiopians to bring back queries of the public from street demonstrations to the parliament. The Premier said the country should learn from the mistakes done in the previous elections and lay foundation for democracy. In his statement on Sunday, the Premier urged the public to take voters' ID to support the process. He reaffirms that the election will be conducted whatsoever to designate a legitimate government. Now, Ethiopian diaspora residing in the western United States of America have contributed over $600,000 for the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam over the past 9 months. This was announced by Ambassador Mulugeta Kadlil, Ethiopia's Consul General in Los Angeles, during a discussion held with Ethiopian diaspora in Los Angeles. During the discussion, Salamawit Dawit, Director General of the Ethiopian Diaspora Agency, lauded ongoing efforts of the diaspora community to support their country of origin. Meanwhile, the Minister of Water and Energy, Selashi Bekele, called upon Ethiopians in Canada to intensify support for the flagship project while giving an update on the GERD to the diaspora at a webinar. Selashi urged the diaspora to consider themselves as ambassadors to their country, declaring the rights of Ethiopia to an equitable and fair utilization of the Nile River basin. The Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs dubs UN security latest report a recognition to Ethiopia's move. UNSC's acknowledgement on humanitarian assistance and related issues in Tigray and regional disputes, including the GERD, indicates Ethiopia's peace-loving principle. Santayo Tamrat reports.
Spokesperson of Ministry of Foreign Affairs Dina Mufti mentioned the statement by the United Nations Security Council a complete disapproval to the wrong narratives on Ethiopia in relation to the law enforcement operation undertaken in Tigray region. Ambassador Dina dubbed UN security latest stance on Ethiopia as a big-time recognition for the country, where the nation is calling up the global partners to scale up their support to the humanitarian assistance needs in Tigray region.
Well, this is a big-time recognition of the effort being undertaken by the Ethiopian government to deliver assistance to those affected because of the operation that has been undertaken to enforce law and order in that part of the country. It is in the meantime also disproves the rumors of the absence of any effort, the fake news about the negligence on the part of the Ethiopian government about this relief, about operations. And definitely it is a recognition to what Ethiopia is doing, and this is what we have been saying all along. This is what we have been telling the rest of the world all along. And the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, particularly other Ethiopian institutions, pertinent institutions, our embassies and missions abroad, were trying to convey this message to the rest of the world. We were trying to impress on the rest of the world about Ethiopia's effort so as to boost relief assistance, though it looked in the past that it fell on the deaf ear. Though now the UN Security Council, the highest organ on this globe, the highest political organ of the globe, has given recognition to this effort and other efforts as well.
The statement is a clear message to global media, activists and some governments that have been misrepresenting Ethiopia, the spokesperson said.
This especially kindly advises those media outlets and activists who were wrongly misrepresenting Ethiopia and who is wrongly misrepresenting what has been going on by way of law enforcement. Because this also assures that what Ethiopia has done is purely an internal matter because it says the UN Security Council reiterates its commitment to Ethiopia's unity, territorial integrity, and sovereignty. This is a big statement. And this means whatever Ethiopia has been doing by way of enforcing law and order has been an internal matter of the country. This is what we have been saying all along. Though others were not caring about it, they were portraying it as if Ethiopia is, doing this vis-a-vis another country, another independent country. So this is really, one is an advice and notification to those who, either deliberately or with ignorance, have been carrying around wrong information about what has been going on.
UN Security Council recognition to the engagement of AU and IGAD in the matter as well as regional disputes including GERD and Ethio-Sudan border dispute is a reassurance that Ethiopia's principle of solving African problems by Africans is the right one.
UN is a global organization. IGAD is a regional organization, whereas AU is a continental organization. There is a complementarity of these organizations. And Ethiopia has been enforcing rules and regulations which these organizations have enshrined in their charters. One of it is actually Ethiopia has been subscribing to solving African problems via African means, with African efforts. This is what Ethiopia has been doing with regard to the trilateral negotiations on the GERD. This is also reassuring Ethiopia, strengthening Ethiopia's positions, and reiterating the rightness of the Ethiopian position with regard to the invoking African positions when it comes to trilateral issues, trilateral negotiations, because we are undertaking this under the auspices of the African Union, which is our continental body.
Ambassador Dina also commended the country's diplomatic missions abroad for playing unprecedented role in helping the global community understand the reality on the ground in Ethiopia.
The truth has vividly come out now. There were others who have been vacillating, and there were others who are misrepresenting this truth, this reality. All it tells you is that Ethiopia's diplomatic effort has succeeded, and this is a kind of partial victory that we celebrate as Ethiopian citizens and diplomats particularly.
Asked about the latest development with the border disputes with Sudan, Dina said Ethiopia is still insisting on peaceful means.
Ethiopia is the source of the Blue Nile and contributes over 85% of the Nile's stream flow. To this day, Egypt and Sudan are using 100% of the water, sticking to their 1959 colonial agreement between them. Not being signatories, Ethiopia and other upstream states do not recognize this agreement. Ethiopia is at the eve of completing the Great Renaissance Dam. Costing over $5 billion that is being paid by ordinary Ethiopians. This dam will generate 5.1 gigawatt of power, and it is a non-consumptive, eco-friendly, existential necessity to millions. The three countries have been in dispute over the construction, filling and operation of this dam. Even thought this dam provides major benefits to Sudan and Egypt in terms of reducing evaporation loss, silt, sedimentation and unexpected flood. This dam is not just about generating power. It is a matter of survival for millions of Ethiopians who deserve a dignified life as their Egyptian counterparts.
Welcome back, you're still watching this News Hour. Strengthening civil society organizations is said to be imperative to realize the democratization process in Ethiopia. The remark was made by Consortium of Christian Relief and Development Association, one of the civil society organizations in the country. According to the executive director of the association, there is still a long way to go to raise societal awareness about the significance of a peaceful election. Goshumalso reports.
Consortium of Christian Relief and Development Association is one of the active civil society organizations taking part in various activities in Ethiopia. The civil society organization is closely working with 176 NGOs in election and other development activities. In an exclusive interview with ETV, Executive Director of the association Nugusu Leggese said strengthening civil society organizations should get the emphasis in order to realize the democratization process in the country.
Civil societies play a very important, prominent role in the democratization process, because civil society members are among the community, part of the community. They are also part of who create a bridge in between the community and the public or the government, for example, because they bring information from the public, or from the community to the public or to the government, from the government down to the community where they work, in the areas where they work. From that point of view, they have a very important role to play what democracy means.
Commenting on the consciousness of the society about election, Nugusu said people's view is improving from time to time, though a lot remains to be done.
Ethiopian people are very much conscious and aware of politics now, because of the loss of dynamics that's happening in the country because of politics. Lots of changes, as we know, after the Derg regime, the EPRDF regime, lots of things are going on. The election, of course, that was also there, although it was really a serious type of democratic election. People are more or less well aware of what is going on. It's not like in the old days. So it's very easy for us to go into the community and tell them, and they are very receptive also, because they saw the advantages also in one way or another when their constituency, elected constituency, become serving in their area. People are really more aware and conscious. Even now they can also challenge sometimes, questioning some of them, honestly.
Nugusu underlined that the people would not lose appetite for the coming election if the previous ones were conducted fairly.
2005 election was probably the most well-contested elections that we had so far. In that election, the government made it really a little bit more open so that anyone can participate in that election, thinking that the government established itself so that they can win. Then the situation turned. It was a difficult time. So since then, everybody almost lost interest in this election. So this current election, we are hoping everything is okay, everything is in place so far. So we are hoping for the best, and then a good election will be contested, and then a winner will come out.
Even though there are security threats in the country, the process of upcoming general election is appreciated, he added.
Everything, the process is really better organized. The only thing is now the bits and pieces of lack of security here and there that you see in some of the countries, in some part of the country, for example. That is the only concern that I may have. Otherwise, as far as the general election is organized, it is better and well organized, I would say.
The upcoming 6th general election, which holds hope and fear, is slated to be held on June 5, 2021.
Now, the special envoy and ambassador of Ethiopia to Saudi Arabia, Lenjo Bati, held discussion with Saudi Minister of State for African Affairs, Ambassador Ahmed Katan. The discussion between the two officials covered areas of bilateral and regional issues of mutual concern and about Ethiopians residing in Saudi Arabia. At the end, they agreed to work together to facilitate the speedy repatriation of Ethiopians detained in Saudi Arabian detention centers. That's according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In another story, the Ministry of Health announces that Ethiopia has been exerting enormous efforts to eliminate malaria by 2030. Briefing the press in connection with the World Malaria Day yesterday, Health Minister Dr. Lia Tadesse said the country is striving to meet WHO's aspiration of zero malaria cases by 2030. She noted that the ministry prioritizes malaria elimination and prevention in its 10-year health sector plan. Currently, the country is working to eliminate the disease in 565 selected malaria-prone districts. According to her, the ministry has above all prepared a 5-year malaria prevention strategy from 2021 to 2025, and it has managed to secure $105.3 million from Global Fund to achieve the strategy. Dr. Leah stated that about 10 million people have been protected from malaria in the past 9 months by introducing preventive interventions. She further disclosed that malaria cases have declined from 1.5 million a year ago to 1.2 million. Now moving on, the Ethiopian Minister of Agriculture, Umar Hussein, emphasizes the high significance of improving animal health in the country. He made the remark while inaugurating a veterinary drug manufacturing plant built by the National Veterinary Institute in Bishoftu town with 102 million birr. Daniel Kasaun has more.
Ethiopia is well known for its huge number of animal resources, albeit of poor qualities, thereby getting less revenues. Against this backdrop, Agriculture Ministry is striving well to tackle the animal health problem in the country. The inaugurated veterinary drug manufacturing plant built by the National Veterinary Institute in Bishoftu town is expected to cover 15% veterinary demand of the country. During the inauguration ceremony, Agriculture Minister Omar Hussein said livestock resources of the country have been low due to animal diseases among other factors.
ዓለም ላይ በጣም ኤክስፖርት በሚደረግበት ጊዜ
When we try to export our animal resources, our international buyers trace back to how the animal health is being handled in the country. In the current status, Ethiopia is by far lagging behind meeting international standards. Now, the inauguration of this huge veterinary drug manufacturing plant would have great significance to improve the existing scenario.
He underscored that the realization of the plant demonstrates the results that can be achieved by mobilizing potential domestic capacity. The newly inaugurated plant will help to enhance livestock productivity and accelerate the sector's growth for the country, earn foreign currency.
አይታችሁ ከሆነ በግብርና ፖሊሲ ውስጥም እንዳመላከት ነው ትልቁ ነገር ኤክስፖርትን ማጠናከር
As we have clearly indicated it in our agriculture policy, strengthening export and providing import substitution is critical for the country. We are now working adequately in crops and the trend is worthy to be applied in animal production. We have double benefit if seriously doing on it. On the other hand, there is a chance to export. On the other hand, supports import substitution.
National Veterinary Institute Director General Marta Yemi said on her part that the plant will play a big role in meeting the high demand of veterinary vaccines. It will produce 91.5 million veterinary tablets annually with 60% production capacity. The institute is currently producing 23 types of vaccines for animals with over 250 million doses annually.
Here I am in the Kalahari Desert in South Africa. I'm actually in the Kalahari Frontier Park, which is in a remote part of Northern Cape. It's about as far into South Africa as you get. We're bordered on one side by Botswana and on the other side by Namibia. This is the most beautiful region. It is everything you expect a desert to be, but with African animals. And we've seen a hell of a lot. We've seen lions, we've seen giraffe, we've seen an abundance of springbok and oryx. Today I've been and I have visited a bushman's village. The bushmen were there in their native dress, explaining their way of life with us, and I can tell you it's quite a frugal way of life. And their lifestyle may be simple, but it seems to be that they're very, very happy people.
Then now we are back in our place where we was bushman.
Now in our continental news, the AU Peace and Security Committee